Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, it's not going to be the Hound, I'm very sorry, but it is going to be the Wraith. Now this unit, not too long ago, received a bit of a range buff, and I've actually seen it on ladder much more than I expected. It seems like Steel Ball Wraith, and Wraith in general, is kind of making a comeback, at least at the high MMRs, and that's what I wanted to showcase in this game. My opponent is Math is Might, fantastic 501 player, picks up the Typhoon pack there with the steel balls and the crawlers, and I decided to go for a saber-tooth pack with the aerial specialist. I kind of had an idea here already that I wanted to test this unit on the day that I played these games, so it did kind of affect me picking aerial, but it's a good pack regardless. I think here Phoenixes are quite good in the meta currently as well. And, well, having easy access to those is never a bad thing. Also, good slab of hit points. Of course, here I'm going to be picking up 2 arc lights. And, yeah, I will be up against steel balls. Looks like we are doing a symmetrical push here for Math is Might. This has also been popping up much more recently. These type of symmetrical ball pushes used to be popular, I would say, up to about, like, 6 months ago. Maybe even a bit longer than that. But they fell out of favor and people started pushing more on one side, and then now people are starting to bring it back. I guess it is also a bit of an aggro meta currently, and so yeah, I guess people are bringing back the experiments a bit more. Now the benefit is he does get to attack both sides. The downside for him is, of course, I am stacked on one side, and so I should be able to kill most of these units. We kill the arc light, that's quite nice. Steel balls there are stuck on the fangs, and he will get a debuff, but I think we should be able to kill this last ball before the debuff really becomes an issue. Now, the one thing that is going to decide his first round is whether or not units are going to go for this tower. Looks like we're fine. Oh, we have one ball. Dude, what is that targeting? Just absolute sniper steel ball there, going for the tower out of nowhere. It looks like we should still be fine, but maybe the steel ball will be able to kill a saber, and it did pick up the 200 experience from the tower. And actually, yeah, that does almost push it to the level 2 requirement there. So very smart steel ball, does all that it can to try and salvage the round. Round number 2, we get improved firepower control system. Heavy armor shows up. I mean, all of these items are absolutely fantastic. I definitely would say both of us should at least pick up one of these. Heavy armor makes quite a lot of sense for the steel balls. I'm a bit surprised that he puts it on this one, but I guess it is in front of the sabers. And with the heavy armor, it does push it over the edge, so I cannot one-shot the steel balls anymore. For me, I was already thinking here, well, in a headbutt, Wraith has always been known as kind of the king of chaff clear units, even of DPS units sometimes. It is just one of the best units in a headbutt. It's so great. It's got really unique targeting, so it doesn't really get stuck on units. But obviously it is a bit short range, so that's why it excels in these short range type of battles. And yeah, I'm thinking, okay, I can take the heavy armor here, but you know, if a steel ball locks onto my saber, it's probably going to die anyway. It's a bit like a melting point, so the hit points are not that useful. An improved firepower control system, however, is absolutely fantastic for something like a Wraith. And my opponent here already goes for more steel balls. Tries to get a steel ball in front of each of these sabers, and then adds a crawler to the mix as well. And I decide to forego a deployment here. I have 2 deployments available. I only use the one, and the reason is I want to get my Wraith on the board right now, and it looks like that is going to be successful. I had 50 credits left, so I decided to take out those steel balls. Main reason, I didn't want to have those steel balls kind of run in, get the second tower. They are the biggest threat. And yeah, we will get debuffed, but we managed to get rid of a good amount of units on the left before that occurs once more. And yeah, the Wraith here should be able to close things out. Maybe even the Saber can do something. Oh, I say that. Looks like it will go down eventually. This won't be a level for the Wraith. For those of you that don't know, Wraith has one of the highest requirements in the game to level up. It's higher than, I think, all of the Giants as well. Not War Factory, obviously, but it is a very, very high threshold, 1950 experience. Compare that to something like Steel Ball, which has 897, or a Sabertooth at 1000, and these did get nerfed. 1950 is a lot, but a good round. Here we get 3 units on round number 3. Sledgehammer looks quite decent. It's a nice frontline unit against the Steel Balls, and so yeah, that is what I'm going to go for. Rhinos don't look too good. Fire Badger, it's a nice unit and a nice leveled unit, but I already have my Wraith, so I don't need more Chaff Clear. And Sandworm into Steel Balls, no thanks. I think Sandworm is a good unit in the right situation, but in these type of headbutts, I don't think it will do too well. And for my opponent, honestly, Sledgehammer looks like a good answer as well. Sledgehammer is a bit of an iconic unit in terms of defending against oftentimes what is going to be Steel Ball Wraith pushes. Yeah, it has 5 targets, so it can kind of lock up the Wraith, even though the Wraith will try and shoot at different targets. And the Wraith is not made to kill mid-sized units. Of course, it can if it has an item and it's a bit over-leveled, but normally it will take it some time to kill a Sledgehammer pack. Now, my opponent does go for the Sledgehammers as well. And I can see one here on the flank with some crawlers. Picks up a Phoenix to counter the Wraith. One more sledge is available too. And that's going to go all the way there on the front line. I decided to put a crawler next to those, not Sledgehammers, Steel Balls to distract them. And I add a Wraith on the other side as well. And let's see how this goes. As long as my front line stays alive for long enough, the Wraith should be good enough here to kill this one Phoenix. And for now, it looks like the Sabers did a fantastic job. They even pick up a level, and I think I might pick that up just for the hit points to make sure that my Wraiths survive longer. And yeah, we do take out the Phoenix, so a fantastic round there. We don't quite get enough to level up, so I'll have to wait for that level 2 Wraith a little bit longer. But so far, I'm very happy with how this is going. Now, additional deployment slot does show up here. Quite a nice thing to pick up. Math does go for it immediately. Sometimes I will skip this because I don't know, I just want to get the money right away. But I think here I probably should pick it up this early. It'll be quite easy to get some value out of it, and if this game goes to like round 7, 8, or even, you know, above that, then having additional deployment is going to be really, really nice. Looks like we get triple crawler coming out here from Math, as well as another Phoenix. He also does get access to his Typhoon because it is round 4. And that looks to be going right next to my Wraith on the right side. Now I do level up the Sabers. I did pick up additional deployment slots here as well. The Saber is going to go right in front of those Sledgehammers. I'm trying to just lock them up, make sure that they don't shoot my chaff, and we get impact drill here on the crawlers. I was a bit surprised seeing this because, well, clicking crawler techs into Wraith, which is one of the best chaff clear units in the game, period, I found to be a little bit surprising. It is a very cheap tech though, so, you know, even if it doesn't end up doing too much, it's not that big of a waste. But yeah, I was a bit surprised. I leveled the tower, and I think I just grabbed myself a little bit more chaff there as well. Keep in mind, I am running high explosive ammo here with range, field maintenance, and armor enhancement. I was trying out high explosive as kind of a cheap alternative sometimes to something like 8 gun. You get a little bit more splash, and if you can still one-shot the chaff, sometimes it'll just be way, way more efficient in terms of money than something like 8 gun, which I believe cost 400 as a base tech. I am also running the tank techs because I think sometimes it can be nice to have that available. Maybe I should throw that off and just run like full carry setup with like 8 gun, or D-Gen Beam has been something I've seen a little bit more of as well, which used to be like the tech everyone was running. But yeah, you don't see that much anymore. Round 5, we get more free units. It's the first round that we can get this second rotation. Overlord is available. Triple Mustang, though. That's a lot of deployment. Same for the Fire Badgers and the Fire Seer. Looks like Math will go for the Fire Badgers. I mean, it is a lot of units, I do have to say. And I think he was lacking a little bit of chaff clear himself as well. Yeah, he was. And then on top of that, it's just more mid-sized units, right? So things that'll take some time for the Sabers to kill, things that will lock up the Wraith for a bit of time. So I think it's a fine pick. I decided to go for the triple Mustang, just because I think I value those deployments, and it's always nice to have these as a bit of a backup all-purpose DPS option. Now, I decided to go for side armaments here, since my opponent was very close to me. I do still run this tech. I don't think it's like particularly good, but you know, I was streaming and it's fun to sometimes click the text that you don't get to use that often. I tried to have this Saber spawn in right next to the Typhoon, but Math sells it and buys a lot more Phoenixes and instantly goes for the charged shot, giving his Phoenixes 175% bonus and also reducing their range by 25 in the process. But that's going to help him kill these big units, right? He was kind of getting stuck on the level 2 Sabers. The Wraith is pretty tanky now as well, sitting at 34k on the level 2. So I can definitely understand this decision. Mustangs, though, should be kind of useful, perhaps with some techs against that. Currently, I didn't have the money to give them range, but yeah. Wraith at least does have range now. And oh, look at that damage. Yeah, that improved Wraith, or improved firepower system, Wraith, does hit very hard, but it looks like we will get debuffed, and with this many units left alive, I do believe that we will be going down. I mean, look at the charge shot there. That's a level 1 Phoenix, dealing so much damage. And yeah, we will go down, and my opponent did use oil on that turn, so all things considered, not too bad. And we get another improved firepower control system there. I don't care too much about the smoke bomb here, and improved is just so cheap and such a efficient item for my Wraith. So I think I will be going for that. And yeah, smoke, again, I don't care about too much, right? If my opponent puts down smoke, then so be it. If anything, my Wraith is doing the most, and it won't get affected by it. So it'll probably just stay even safer, since all of my ground units will move in front of it. Math does go for it. I guess he doesn't need the improved, since he does have charge shot. And those bonuses, for those of you who are wondering, are all additive if they are a buff. If it's a negative debuff, then it's multiplicative. So for instance, cost control plus mass produced cards, those are going to be multiplicative debuffs. But something like charge shot plus improved, you're going to go from 175% bonus attack to 245 plus 70. I decided to add more Sabers here on the right. We do pick up the improved, but instead of throwing it onto that Wraith that I have, I decided to throw it onto the Mustang, a great unit for that item as well. So an understandable decision, I would say. And yeah, we're just buying a bit more chaff here as well. I do also go for some missiles, because the setup for my opponent there is rather psychotic, I'd say. And without any missile intercept, I can definitely get some values out of those sentry missiles. And so that's what we're doing, trying to hit multiple targets with one missile. Mustangs do get hit, but yeah, as you can see, they are moving in front of my Wraith. And so that is DPSing very safely from a distance. And even this Wraith here barely survives on 1 hit point, and even grabs enough experience to level up as well. And that is another great round there as we enter round number 7. Incendiary Bomb is available. Electromagnetic Blast, another quite powerful spell. But I think, I mean, Incendiary here could be worth picking up. I could also just skip, though, in all honesty. And yeah, that is what I'm going to do. There is something to be said to try and disable all of the Phoenixes on one side, but honestly, I'd rather get the money and invest that into the shields. My opponent does go for the Incendiary Bomb, so happy to have that. And I also want to put down these missiles that you're seeing, right? Hitting these sledges and the crawlers, hitting the steel balls, the fire badgers, maybe even the crawlers behind there. Same thing over here. Just trying to make use of all of the devices that are available instead of spending it all on spells as well. We grab the levels on the Mustangs. And that leaves us with 550 resources left. Might just be another tame round here with like a bunch of chaff. Math is thinking about where he's going to put that fire, but will go greedy with it. And so I'm quite happy here that I did put down those shields. And we decide to click high explosive ammo. So here it is. After seeing all of these crawlers from my opponent, I decide to click the high explosive. And even the level 1 Wraith there, 354, is able to one-shot the crawlers. And so with the 15 meters of splash, that is the equivalent of a scorpion shot, but on each of these guns that fire every 1.6 seconds. Absolutely mental. And I mean, look at the splash as well. It is splashing onto all of these mid-sized units. So it's not just good into the chaff here, it's also good into those badgers, into the sledgehammers, into the steel balls. Quite happy to pick that up. And my opponent goes for a Wraith of his own and decides to go for the armor enhancement there. Now luckily we do get the debuff on the right side. And the Wraith, while they did get a bit of a debuff with high explosive, they still deal plenty of damage to be able to punch through this Wraith, albeit slowly. But we do manage to get through, and that's another big round. These donuts deal 300 damage a pop, so that's another 1000 damage here. And that'll send our opponent down to 140 on death's door. Will he be able to pull a comeback, or are we going to be able to stop him from doing so? Round number 8, enhancement module shows up. It's a bit late for that, to be honest, so I decided not to go for it. Quick TP is available, and my opponent decides to go for the quick cooldown. He did pick up a bunch of spells, which I didn't, so this will give him the sticky oil bomb again. We'll use that on the right side. Again, I'm going to go for these missiles. And we'll have to see if I can make something work with the quick teleport here. The backside of my opponent is quite open. I mean, a Phoenix flank here might be able to get through. We'll have to see if I'm willing to go for that. I go for the devices first, grab the levels. Level 3 Wraith now. Level 3 Mustang with the item. And I put down the shields because I was aware of the fact that quick cooldown could be an option. Opponent's putting some shields down as well. Quite useful, as it will stop some of these missiles from dealing massive damage to his board. And let's see. Bunch of Phoenixes are coming out now for me. And I decide to take charge shot on them to be able to deal with the Wraith, because while we managed to deal with it the round it came out, I don't expect to have a similar round again. So I have to get something that is dedicated to dealing with this. And it's going to be some Phoenixes. I don't go for the flank. It would have been possible here. I don't think I quite did the math right. It would have been worth to just throw a Phoenix at that, especially when my opponent is so low on hit points. But yeah, let's see how this goes. Looks like those Phoenixes got quick lock-ons, and so while we did kill the enemy Wraith, those Phoenixes are starting to get rid of my Wraith. Now only I have the big level 3 one left. Now mind you, this tower is leveled, but it will go down eventually. And I don't think we'll be able to turn this with this many Phoenixes left alive. Oh, well, I say that. Maybe we get a debuff. But now the enemy units have shaken that off, and the Wraith goes in front to save Private Phoenix. And so Math will live another day. And even until the unit drops show up. So here we get Rhino, Stormcaller, Tarantula, and Scorpion. Rhino does look quite good, but so does Scorpion, if I have to be honest. I mean, aiming a double shot Scorpion at these packs looks insanely good for me, but I decide to go for the Rhinos instead. Main reason is I picked up quick teleports and I wanted to do something with it. So we go for a bit of a special play there with double level 3 Rhino with Whirlwind on the flank and a charge shot Phoenix behind. I picked the Whirlwind because this will obviously pull the crawlers, and without Whirlwind it'll actually take a long time to kill all these crawlers, so I want to get in as fast as possible and get that debuff. But it would have been a completely fine play here to pick up the Scorpions, by the way. Just aiming those Scorpions with double shot at these units would have been completely fine. Opponent goes for the Rhinos as well. Picks up the armor enhancement, which gives 50% bonus HP. And runs them into my tower, or at least he will attempt to do so. Does he shield though? Because the missiles are back in force for me. I mean, look at these flanks. There's just so much value to be had from these sentry missiles. And I think here Math could have probably invested in some missile interceptors, but he doesn't. And oh boy, do we even slow that Rhino? Okay, doesn't look like that's the case, but we do have charge shot Phoenixes. And, well, my opponent did put down some missiles, so I'm happy I put those Rhinos in front of the Phoenixes. But they will get to tower, and that is 2 level 1 towers going down. 9 seconds, doubled of debuff, so 18 seconds of debuff, and that should be plenty here to pick up the round. And that is exactly what we will do. And so quite an exciting game. This was a game that happened around 2.2k MMR, and quite an unusual one. These type of headbutts with heavy air forces aren't too common right now, I would say. But sometimes they do happen, and I mean, kudos to Math for coming up with these very original positionings. I do manage to kind of take advantage of it, thanks to the missiles. And yeah, I got to test my high explosive ammo Wraith as well. Was it worth it? I think in this situation, yes. Obviously, my opponent had a lot of mid-size and small units. Maybe, just maybe, I want to bring back the full carry techs, because having 8 gun available is nice as well. And the degen beam is a great tech too. But yeah, currently I want to have the tankiness, but I think I can probably just use phantoms for that. Anyway, let me know down below what you think of the Wraith. Do you play this unit? Do you not play it? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Everything is welcome. If you want to stay up to date with the latest content, please do consider subscribing. If you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. And with that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.